Here we go with the 6th installment in our ongoing game, Forum versus the designer of the game order, an opportunity making of the post-Cold War world order. So the EU seems to be not keen to take the deal offered by Russia here in the Baltic states to get the Bronze Knight resolved. Not a bad decision. There are all sorts of unknown factors to this getting resolved, such as what is shown here on the card, that further world events will come into play. So it's better to kind of sit and maybe try to freeze the situation for the time being. So it's the Russian turn then. So in absence of a deal with the EU, we will play these military cards. The consequence from using the military suit is a world order contribution decline, but that's okay. The democracies are both at the rock bottom here, so there will not be a -1 resource cost imposed on the authoritarians if they hit the rock bottom as well. The democracy is currently failing to uphold the rules-based order in their own conduct, so for the time being all is good. And Russia has these two cards to play, and I'm just going to pump them both into Chechnya. So Chechnya has got one level of separatist non-state actor, as the game calls them, influence. So we're going to go right past them with those two military cards and increase our military influence there to 2. So here comes the first level and then right to the second level. So at the start of the round 3, Russia is in position to resolve the world event here unless something comes, unless something happens before that. That already concludes the Russian turn, so we discard these cards. Go down here to the sequence of play. So Russia decides not to pass quite yet, pausing instead, so staying here in the commands part of the action phase display. And so the turn order goes around or continues further down to the third place power, which is the United States. We draw a development, and it is India-Pakistan relations. This card will go here into Asia and one of the so-called horizon event slots up here. All 3 are still free for Asia, and the card places these 2 event options available to any power who wishes to make use of them by playing the indicated card to trigger the US turn. Continues into the opportunity segment. At this moment, the US is actually able to resolve an opportunity over here in Asia Pacific. As you can see, the counter here shows 2 levels of military or 2 levels of political influence being needed to resolve this, and the US has here indeed 2 levels of military influence. So the US can grab this marker. We fly here to the player mat, leave it in there, and then proceed to draw a replacement. The replacement we get goes down here into the Baltic states. So this makes the situation even more interesting in the Baltic states. There's now the opportunity that the Russians are in the position to pick up, but again blocked by the EU. And then finally we go into the US command phase. Here's the US hand of cards, 4 cards remaining because in an earlier video the US played the American Dream. You can see it here in the discard to avoid the check that came up. So what shall we do with these cards? You can have a look in the BGG forum for some ideas.